All right, so Fired Up Fridays is now Fired Up Freedom. I just want to do a little bit of a recap of season one. It was amazing. I had so much fun, a lot of amazing guests, a lot of great conversation. It was really, really awesome. If you're someone who wants to have a growth mindset, if you're someone who wants to take action and go towards your goals, then Fired Up Freedom is great for you. It doesn't matter if your goal is financial or personal. And now that we're moving into season two, we're going to be talking a lot of different things surrounding freedom.
But when I say 15,000 filings, that's not counting our international filings. That's just with the USPTO. So if she's
so like, what all do your firm provide? I know you mentioned earlier, like the different things, but like if someone say, well, hey, well, what does he do? Why do I need him? Like
yes.
they see it like it's this big. And the thing I like about you is that you're very reasonable. You're looking out for people. When I initially was searching.
Well, hello there, family. You're listening to Fired Up Freedom with Steve Ryan. Fired Up Freedom. All right.
Do you ever look for certain services or products and it's just hard to find and you want to know if someone else has used that before? Well, visit my resources page, steveryan.com/resources, steveryan.com/resources. All right. Welcome to Fired Up Freedom, which used to be Fired Up Friday. All right, so this is Steve Ryan. Now, today we're going to be doing episode number 23 from season one. That's the episode that you will be seeing. All right. So in this episode, let me just make sure it's the right number. Yes, 23. I had to double check that one. So with this one, we catch up with attorney William Goldman from the Goldman Law Group. And in this episode, he talks about why you should consider having a branding attorney. All right. Now, for those who may not know what a branding attorney is, it goes beyond trademarks and things. It's more about your brand. It depends on what kind of business you have. What are you doing? Is it just U.S. only, or is it other countries? Is it international, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So he definitely talks about that and goes over that. I feel like for you, it's in my opinion and some words of wisdom, it's important for you to see what's good for you. Now, his information is in the details of the episode, so you can always reach out and see if he's someone that can fit for you. All right? So ultimately, your decision is for you. If you're someone who's an entrepreneur or you have a brand or business, it can't hurt to see if you want to go that route to protect yourself. It just, again, depends on what you're doing, who you are, what kind of business you have. Is it in what we call the Web 2 world? Is it in the Web 3 world? You just never know. So it's all up to you. All right. So have a wonderful day. Enjoy the episode coming up. All right.
Fired Up Friday is now Fired Up Freedom.
Welcome, Mr. Goldman.
Yes. Nice being here. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Yeah, so this is a very, very, very important topic, branding and trademark. I know you've helped me with several of mine, and I've been raving about you and referring people and saying, hey, I've never had an issue with this guy. I've never had where I had to go and dispute and all that, because you're very thorough from the beginning, like very thorough.
Yeah, sometimes a little too much, but it serves the clients better in the long run. They might be a little annoyed at the beginning when I send them back for revisions, but once the application sells right through, they thank me later.
Yeah, like mine's, I would say the longest was like maybe 10 months, but one of them went through in like 5-6 months. It just flew right through. I was like, wow, when I
Yeah,
checked in.
that's the key. That's really
So
the
you
key. You don't cut corners up
definitely
front, you do it right, and you don't get a kickback later on.
you definitely know what you're doing. And
Thank you much.
so what is like a branding lawyer?
Great question. Well, branding law is a field that I pioneered about 20 years ago. I finally released the first edition of the book, Branding Law Cases and Materials, about 5 years ago. And basically, it's an interdisciplinary field. So it covers not only trademarks, but copyrights, patents, entertainment law, which I'm sure is of interest to a lot of you viewers, computer law, even rights of publicity, antitrust, trade libel, false advertising. It really spans the gamut. And branding lawyers are well versed in all these fields in order to provide strategic counsel for brand managers and marketers, avoiding the disconnect that sometimes exists.
Oh, wow. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, it really is.
Now,
Yeah, a lot of times
I know I initially came to you for trademarking, and but you're a branding lawyer, so like just so that people aren't confused, like is there a difference between branding and trademarking?
yeah, it really is. Great question. So one common misconception that people have, even lawyers and judges, is that trademarks and brands are synonymous. Um, And it's not always the case. It's sort of an oversimplification, but I like to say not all trademarks are brands, but most brands are trademarks. Basically, brands are essential to the whole consumer experience, and protectable slogans, names, logos are just component parts or subsets of the whole, which is then amplified through marketing, creating an evolution from brands to branding. So, in other words, there's a lot more to branding than just trademarks, and that necessitated the development of a brand new legal field, if you will, which goes much deeper and covers a whole wide range of legal subjects.
Oh, wow. So if someone's wanting to really fully protect themselves, they really need more than just trademark. They need really a consultation to see what's going on and really look at the whole picture.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very holistic approach. A lot of times people sort of pigeonhole it. They think, oh, branding, trademark, but that's not always the case. And you really have to delve deeper to realize what the exact issues are. And a lot of times it's crossover into patents or copyrights or rights of publicity or entertainment law. And so that's really the job of a branding lawyer, to see the connections and to provide the best possible advice.
Right, right. And like I know you deal with a lot of people, entertainment,
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, startups.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
in your experience, like what would you say like the biggest mistake that you've
Um,
seen people, make?
yeah. Well, I would say inconsistent messaging. That's the second biggest branding mistake. But the main mistake is when companies fail to select an adequately strong brand name. So you have a whole continuum of trademark strength, and while suggestive or descriptive names typically require less marketing effort, they are much more difficult to enforce. So that's why our firm always emphasizes taking these branding law considerations into account during the name creation process. So, a name that's considered fanciful or even an arbitrary name will better serve a business long term, because at the end of the day, why invest resources in something as essential as brand development when competitors can potentially use something highly similar as well? So, therefore, you're adopting a very unique brand, a strong brand, and it'll provide a much better protection for years to come. So that's what we always recommend: choosing the right name up front, making sure it's available, and then getting the best possible application prepared and going from there.
Oh, wow. So like what all do your firm provide? I know you mentioned earlier like the different things, but like if someone say, "Well, hey, well, what does he do? Why do I need him?" Like
Yes. Well, it depends if it's an entrepreneur or a startup or entertainer. We represent creative individuals worldwide and creative business clients worldwide throughout the United States. And so, anytime you're protecting your intellectual property, it's very intangible compared to, say, a piece of real estate or something. This is oftentimes something you can't necessarily touch. It's just the nature of ideas. And so, in order to safeguard those rights, in order to gain exclusive rights, and then one can, of course, monetize from there. That's the whole point in getting your trademark or your patent or your copyright. It's your intellectual property, and then it becomes a vital business asset. You can either sell it, you can license it. Most importantly, you can protect it against potential competitors. So there's really a lot you can do with it once you have that trademark, patent, or copyright.
Oh, wow. So you said have the trademark, patent, into a copyright?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. There are three types of protections. So, for instance, and a lot of people mix these up, so I'll explain it a little bit. So, a patent typically is for a useful item, say an invention or a chemical formulation or something to that extent, something that one invents. The trademark, that goes to the branding, whether it's a logo, whether it's a name. You can even have certain things like colors and scents, meaning smells and things like that. Anything that identifies the source of a business, the branding of a business, that would be trademark. And then copyright are more the artistic creations, whether it's a painting or songs that are being written, or even a piece of software, computer software, that could be protected under copyright. So each type of intellectual property protection covers something entirely different. And then if you want to take it even a couple steps further, you have the realm of trade secrets. That's something that one doesn't even protect or file, but by keeping a concept secret, as it will, you wind up getting protection that way. And then lastly, you have written agreements, whether they're non-disclosures, those types of agreements, non-compete agreements, and that serves as a maybe a weaker form of intellectual property, but certainly one can protect his or her rights that way as well.
Wow. So if someone like had an assistant working and they wanted like a non-disclosure agreement, they would come to someone like you to prepare it and
Yeah. I always recommend going several steps further, if at all possible, actually registering the trademark, the copyright, or the patent. The NDA, that's an imperfect a form of protection, but it does exist, and sometimes it does come in handy, definitely.
Fired Up Freedom will be right back after these messages.
Do you ever look for certain services or products and it's just hard to find and you want to know if someone else has used that before? Well, visit my resources page, steveryan.com/resources, steveryan.com/resources.
So if somebody got like trademark, copyright, can they do an NDA in addition to that?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we have that happening all the time, where perhaps they have the trademark or the patent, copyright, and then they want to pitch the concept to some potential investors, or maybe they want to sell it to a company. And so before engaging in those conversations, they'll have the NDA prepared just as an extra level of protection.
Wow, this is really eye-opening.
Oh, good. Well, that's great. When you asked me to
Wow.
come on your program, I said, "Oh, this would be perfect, for the people that view your show. This is all
Yeah, because
protection and
they see
creation."
it so scary. They see it like it's this big. And the thing I like about you is that you're very reasonable. You're looking out for people. When I initially was searching for a trademark attorney, the prices was just outrageous, like all around the country. I checked many states, and then I came across you, and I saw all this feedback. Like you, I don't know how many it said you've done, but you've done so many, like
Yeah, we're up to
like a lot,
our firm has done up over 15,000 right now.
right?
So yeah, we're always top 10 in the world, which is just a fantastic honor to be doing that many successful applications. And yeah, we represent startups and entrepreneurs, some major companies too, but for the most part, startups and entrepreneurs. And we like to keep our fees reasonable because, we know this is the client base that needs us most. And that's one of the reasons I set up the firm way back when, is to sort of bridge that gap. Because on one hand, you have these law firms, I'm going to say a lot of them do a very nice job, but they are quite expensive. And then you have these other companies that have sort of emerged that aren't even law firms. They're just legal service providers.
Yes.
And some of them do a fine job, I'm sure. But personally, I feel you always want to have the counsel and the expertise of a lawyer. And so that's where we come in. I have almost 30 years of experience doing just this. And, I feel the client's getting a much better service at a very affordable price. And the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, I'm a walking testimonial.
Oh,
I've
there you
come to
go.
you several times.
Thanks so much.
Like,
I do appreciate it, Steve. Always a pleasure working with you.
and you had mentioned something earlier about worldwide. So like, I know one question someone asked when I said you were coming on the show was like, she's based in UK, like she lives in the UK, but she was like, "Can I go through the attorney you go through?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'll ask him."
Oh, of course. Yeah, basically trademarks are geographically specific, but when I say 15,000 filings, that's not counting our international filings. That's just with the USPTO. So if she's looking to sell within the US or offer her goods or services in the US and wants a federal registration with the USPTO, then certainly I could help her with that. For other countries, we have a nice network of foreign associates who are fantastic lawyers, reasonably priced. Whether it's UK or EU or Canada, all throughout Asia. And so I'm able to connect clients with them. And if she were looking for just a UK specific or EU specific trademark, then certainly I could put her in touch, and that's another option. But yeah, basically, we're a one-stop shop for all needs IP and trademark for creative businesses everywhere.
Oh, wow. And like, I'm not sure if this is something you can answer, but like for people who register in the US, like for example, in the music business, like we have like BMI and ASCAP that deals with, performance rights and
Mhm.
collecting, and they have like these reciprocity agreements with the foreign, organizations that are similar. Is trademark similar to that, to where foreign governments will recognize it, like whatever their offices are?
Yeah, to a certain extent. As I said, it's very geographically specific, so you do need to have a trademark registered within the particular country you're most interested in. These days, it's a lot easier than it used to be. When I first started out, prior to the internet, you actually had to have physical sales or offering sales and proof of that. With the internet, it's almost instantaneous, just because it's the World Wide Web. So just by having a website, you're essentially offering your services worldwide. But yeah, back to your question. So you do have certain treaties, certain agreements, such as what we call the Madrid Protocol. And through that, you're able to apply in one nation, and then you pay what's called the WIPO fee, World Intellectual Property Organization, and then you pay fees in each individual country, just the filing fees. And that's a lot better than it was maybe 20, 25 years ago, when you actually had to go through the effort of applying separately in each country. This way, it is sort of a one-stop process.
Wow. I had no idea. So glad I asked
Yeah,
that.
there you go. I'm glad you
And,
asked
and
it.
if someone wants to get in touch with your firm for the services, what's the best way to get in touch?
Sure. Well, email is WSG, that's William Scott Goldman, at goldmanlawgroup.com. Or on our website, there's also a contact form, and that's www.goldmanlawgroup.com.
Cool. So that's www.goldmanlawgroup.com. All
Mhm.
right. Any last words before, let you go? I know you've had a long day.
Oh, yeah, indeed, indeed. And believe it or not, the day's just beginning, because, it's around 8 o'clock over in Asia right now. So I'm going to start getting bombarded with a bunch of emails shortly. But yeah, I would say, to your viewers, anything IP related, we serve the needs of creative individuals worldwide, creative businesses worldwide, whether they're entrepreneurs, startups, anybody who has any questions even can feel free to reach out, and I'm always glad to assist.
All right. And what was that email address one more time?
Oh, sure. WSG@GoldmanLawGroup.com.
Perfect. All right. Appreciate you. I can definitely speak. He's a hard worker. And, it's been some moments that, like the most recent ones, because I'm on the West Coast and I know he's in the East Coast. And I see a message. We're going back and forth at 8 and 9 o'clock. And I'm like, it's got to be close to midnight where you are.
Yes.
So, wow, you're very dedicated.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Definitely working long hours here, but I love what I do. So, it's all about working for the clients and getting them protected the best we can. So, definitely
Yes,
look
sir.
forward to working
We
with you in the
appreciate
future and everybody else.
it. Cool. Well, this wraps it up for this edition of Fired Up Friday. All right.
That's great.
Fired Up Friday is now Fired Up Freedom.
Running from myself at times I can't describe the words I try, the fear